Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tipsy Tuesday. Oh, it's so exciting. It's Tuesday, and it's less than a week till Christmas, so you should get your drink out. What? If you don't look like this right now, then we're probably not friends, is all I'm going to say, because I am totally stressing out. Haven't bought anything. And I had a day where I could have done that, but I didn't. Why? Because I'm still catching up on work from 2 weeks ago. How many people are doing this? You don't, excuse me, there's a show. How many people don't want to work between Christmas and New Year's? So they're trying to do all the work that they would be doing in the next 2 weeks, and they're completely stressed out because it's not going to get done. And you get so overwhelmed because you're not going to get all your work done. So then you get overwhelmed. You go, and I didn't buy any presents. And the only thing up for Christmas is this tree. And there's a big chair right there. And yeah, school is done and I'm sitting in a dirty parking lot alone. Girl, that's heaven. I never heard of something so amazing. You know that you're a mom when sitting in a dirty parking lot by yourself, watching a drunk lady on a Tuesday night from New Jersey drink on the internet, and you're in heaven. You're like, I can't think of any other place I'd rather be. Oh, you're a mother. Mm-hmm. It's this teacher's birthday tomorrow. Time for cake for breakfast. Oh, Allie, I saw you and your mom making the pizzelles the other day. I was so proud. I can't wait. I met Allie's mom and she's adorable. She looks just like Diane. Diane and Allie's mom have to get together and just make pizzelles. And Allie and I will just sit on the couch and just laugh and laugh. It'll be fabulous. My tree is in the crawl space in the attic and it's staying there again this year. That is a different use of the word crawl space than we usually use. I'm alone. Can't think of a better place to be. And I'm not a mom. You know what? Boom. Stacy, I'm glad you can be here with us this Tipsy Tuesday. I do want to do some promos because next Tipsy Tuesday, December 26th, is the last Tipsy Tuesday of the year. And I don't know if you have noticed these shiny trophies that are sitting next to me, but for the first time in 8 years, because we move a little slow on this show, we as a group, and that's just me and the drunk people that work with me, have put together some awards. And there's still voting happening. So we already have, which we're going to announce on Friday, our finalists. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me show you. Hold on. Here it is. Ready? Our finalists for Hot Dad of the Year. Oh, those are narrowed down. We also have our finalists that we'll be announcing on Monday for Ugly Monday photo first place. That means you're the ugliest in here. The ugliest one in place. And you brought a lot of joy by spreading your ugliness every Monday on the internet. And this one is currently being voted on. And the voting goes through, I think, Thursday morning. So if you haven't voted, you can scroll down and you'll see, it'll say the morning show intros. And if you win, you get the morning show intro video first place winner. And you should be in tuxedos if you are a finalist. And that's for men and women. No, you can wear whatever you want. Please be pretty. Okay. And that goes for most of the Ugly Monday winners. That message is clearly for you. So we're going to have a ceremony. It's not bad manners to vote for yourself. You should vote for yourself as much as possible. Do you have tasteful nudes for the Dad's Trophy? I hope so, Bo. I hope so. So tune in on Friday to figure out who the finalists are. And then we will be going live next Tipsy Tuesday in fancy outfits. And we will be awarding who is the ugliest bee up in here, who's the hottest dad, and who is going to be winning for best intro video of the year. And I have to tell you, I was talking to Stephanie today because that contest is still open. Some of the voting, it was like first place was like far ahead, and then second place still far ahead, third place kind of at the pack, right? The intro videos, It is vote for vote across the board. It's going to be tight. So if you have not looked at the intro videos, it is going to be hotly contested because they're all really good. So it's very exciting. Tonight is also, we are going to be opening the store to everybody. If you haven't heard, we have decided to make some changes to how we do business in terms of our merchandise. And we are going to be moving to a pre-order only store. So we are blowing out all of our merchandise. So tonight at 10 o'clock, it will be open to everybody. We had it open to supporters first, starting last night. And so tonight at 10, you'll be able to go on and get whatever you'd like through till the end of the year. And the percentage off will just continue to get higher and higher until it's 100% off and we pay you to take it. What? That's stupid. Who put these ideas together? Nobody that was smart. So all I'm saying is get yourself. In fact, before I put everything on sale, I went on the store and I got myself some of the products that I wanted, because I always get like the prototypes, which they're not always right. Michael. Dean. I know you're here. This is what Dean did tonight. So I'm in the living room. 2 big boxes came to the door. Michael. Can you come here? Jen, it's on the supporter page. Jen, go to the supporter page because I wrote a post yesterday, last night around 9. Can you go in my closet and just stand there, raise your right hand, and there's a yellow sweatshirt that's like right here. Could you get it for me? Just do that. Just know which side is your right hand. Well, I know. Did you ever give your kids directions? Like, I didn't know. I'm like, this is how I give directions. Raise your right hand. Point.
Raise your right hand.
Turn your car off.
Grab the yellow.
Have you been drinking?
Grab the yellow sweatshirt. And then walk away. And then meet me on the corner of 35 and 7.
35 and 7? Yeah, you're clearly from the city.
Don't call this number back. You have 4 seconds.
You make it sound like a hostage situation.
Yeah, it's like that.
No, Sarah, he didn't answer me. So there were 2 big boxes in the front of the house. And my job is to buy the stuff that's in the boxes, get the boxes in the house, unload the things, put them away, do something with them. It's his job to take the box to the curb. That's his only job. He don't pay for the roof or the food or anything that's here. None of the water, the electric. All he got to do is take the box to the curb.
This thing?
So I'm in there. I can't see it. I'm in there and I said, hey, yeah, that's it. I'm going to show it to Julie. She got to get one. So we can be matching next year. So I can hear, I think I heard somebody in the kitchen. There's a wall here. So I said, is anybody in the kitchen? I said, Dean, are you in there? I said, Dean. I must have called him 3 times. The 4th time, I said, Dean. He was like, what's up? I said, oh, you were in there the whole, look at her. Look at her. She knows that's, you know, when your dog looks at you because you go, oh, how many people just breathe in like obnoxiously to let your dog know how mad you are? Because you can't really yell that much at a dog. So you just do this thing where you go, oh, she totally knows. She knows. Anyway, so Dean didn't own it. So I walked in the kitchen. I go, you were here the whole time? I called you 4 times. He's 4 feet away. Oh, look, she don't care now. That didn't work. All right, so I'm about to bring on our guest tonight that I'm so excited about, but I want her to see this very fancy sweatshirt because she needs to get one. She's not going to understand anything that means. Now listen, Julie, most of our shirts just have sayings on them that don't mean anything to anybody, and you probably shouldn't bring up a crawl space because it doesn't mean anything that you think it means, and it usually means something dirty. So we have a lot of names for vagina here, and you may use them and you don't even know, and I will try to warn you. So our guest tonight, so you know, I'm on a journey, y'all. I'm on a journey. Raise your hand if you're on a journey. I don't care if your journey is to find yourself, you're to find someone else, to find money. I don't care where you're going, but raise your hand if you're on a journey. Lulu's like, I'm definitely on a journey. She's like, I'm on a journey to that plate over there that's got that egg bake on it. Hand raise. I'm on a journey. And I have decided that I was going to write my book, and I found this wonderful program called Story Summit that I kind of talked a lot of you through. This is uncomfortable, right, for all of us? That talked you through it as I was kind of on my trips to some fantastic place. There's a breakfast bake over here, so I think you know why the dog's facing that way. I'm just going to say that. Okay. So Julie was and will always be my mentor from the program. And you're going to meet her in a second. You're going to fall in love with her. She is a New York Times bestselling author. She's a mentor with Story Summit. And she's going to tell us about an amazing class that Story Summit is going to be offering this next calendar year. And I'm going to be taking the class so I can continue my journey to finish this book. But it is a wonderful program and class on writing a memoir. And Julie, you're just going to love her to death. So without further ado, one of my favorite people ever, mentor, New York Times bestsellers. Lulu is looking longingly at this fire because she's like, I literally can't wait to meet Julie. And here she is. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you?
Y'all have such a fun group.
We do. And they're probably going to say dirty words in that chat. So just be prepared for that, Julie. So, and I love you're dressed so festive tonight.
Okay, so we made sweaters for our favorite Christmas. So I figured we're going to get two uses out of it.
What is
just to be fun.
Just a bow. Is there anything at the bottom?
Oh yeah, the whole thing. Like hot glue bonanza.
Oh my goodness. Now, did you watch the episode of oh, it says real bad echo. Oh shoot, she's echoing. All right, let me do this. Now if I mute you, maybe I can pull your audio from here. Let's see if that works. I'm gonna call you.
Okay.
And let's see if we can call you on the phone. And we have been having issues with the audio.
Okay. Does this work better?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn your mic off. All right, now talk.
Does this work better?
Oh, wait, hold on.
How about now?
Girl, I gotta turn the volume up. Okay. All right, let's try that. Can everybody say something? Introduce yourself and we'll see if they can hear you.
Hello, everybody. Is this better?
Let's see. All right, keep talking. Just tell everybody who you are. Tell them about yourself.
Well, I'm Julie, and I'm not always this frazzled. We have had some tech issues tonight. I'll just keep drinking out of my cup of happy here. Yeah. So I've got you on speaker here, Dina. I hope this sound's working okay.
Yeah, you can put it down in front of you. I don't think you need to put it right there, so that way you don't feel uncomfortable.
That'll work great. All right. But Dina, she was such a delightful addition to Story Summit at Middlewick, and we just loved you being there, Dina. And I love that you're going to be in the class next year, and you're just, you're stuck with me for life now. Sorry.
I know, we're connected. So it was so funny because a lot of the people that went to Story Summit. So Story Summit was it 9 weeks or 12 weeks total? Do you know?
Well, I think David was there for 12 weeks, maybe even a little more. Yeah. I was there for 2, and most mentors came for 2 weeks each.
Right.
Yeah.
And so most of the people that were there were going for 2 weeks. So I kind of dropped in halfway through everybody's 2 weeks. And literally within the first 5 minutes of meeting Julie, I think I was crying. I was like, Julie, we're in the back crying, looking at goats. And I was like, I love this lady. She's going to be she's going to be my bestie. So I know we're here to tell everybody about Story Summit and the great memoir class that's coming up, but I wanted you to tell a little bit about your journey because I have my Julie Cantrell book that I still haven't read yet, but I'm totally reading it. So this is Julie's New York Times best-selling book, Into the Free. And I don't know much about writing a book at all, which is why these classes are so great. So, and the classes run the gamut from, this trip that I took or the memoir class that's coming up, but I was also part of just like a publishing class. So depending on where you are in the process, if you're ready to start talking to agents or publishers, it was just a great book, a great class. And we had, who's the lady that wrote Lessons in Chemistry?
Oh, Bonnie Garmis.
We had Bonnie Garmin on. So great. I talked about her on a previous One Funny Morning. Yes, is this on Amazon? It's called Into the Free.
Yes, it is. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
and you can
that's
find
so
Julie
sweet.
at juliecantrell.com. But tell everybody a little bit about your journey as a writer. How did you kind of get here to the New York Times best-selling list? Fill everybody in.
And that was a fluke. I don't know. I don't get any credit for that. I don't think anybody can control that. It's just one of those things that happen. But you are being way too humble and not giving yourself credit, because, Dina, you're an amazing writer. You write in a million ways and capacities. And I've told you, writing funny is the hardest thing to do. I can't do it. I can't tell a joke. I can't be funny. That is the hardest thing to get right. So if you can write humor, you can write anything.
I hope so.
But as far as my writing journey, I mean, it's really interesting. I grew up in a very rural community in Louisiana, and, a place where you don't know people who make a living in the arts, and you never meet a writer, and you just don't know that that's even a possibility in life. We just all go get a job, get a paycheck, and, keep going. So I was always an avid reader. I wanted to be a writer. And in my freshman year, I had a wonderful teacher who instilled in me the belief in myself, loved my writing, gave us wonderful assignments that taught me how to write fiction, write as if I was from another point of view, which I just became addicted to at 14. It was such a beautiful escape and a tool for empathy too, to get in other people's lives and see it from their perspective. It was really a great way to grow as a teen. And so that's what I wanted to do. Then I had another kind of teacher my senior year, and we all have people in our lives like this who told me, every day how worthless I was and how worthless I was as a writer. And my last day in her class, she told me, Julie, whatever you do, don't waste your scholarship to study writing. You'll never make it as a writer. And so I talk about this sometimes because we all have people in our lives who tell us no, or we can't, or you'll never, or you'll fail. And the mistake was mine because I was 17. I believed her. I believed she knew what she was talking about. And so I didn't write for many, 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 many years. Never took a writing class.
What did you go on to get your
degree? And had to come back around to it.
What did you study in college then?
I became a speech language pathologist, which I love. I went through grad school all the way through bachelor's and master's without ever taking a writing class or anything like that, even though I wanted to, and never wrote anything except for my assignments for many years. And then when I was pregnant, I started journaling for my unborn child, my daughter, and that got me writing again. And then when my son was born, I wrote a poem and entered it on a dare in a contest for moms. And that was that. I launched my whole career. I won the contest, got a little check for $50, and started writing for Mom Sense magazine, because that's what I was doing at that point in my life, raising little kids. And it all started with that. Yeah, it's been a wonderful career.
So how many books have you written so far?
So now I have 3 children's books, 4 novels, a creative nonfiction work that I co-wrote, and then I've ghostwritten a lot of books, and I've also, not novels, I ghostwrite memoirs and nonfiction, and then I also edit. I've edited hundreds of books by now that are on the shelves. So,
is it weird to ghostwrite? Because if I was ghostwriting and then the book went on to critical acclaim, I'd be like, girl, I wrote that book. Like, you're not, you have to have an NDA. Like, are you not allowed to tell people?
Right. Yeah, I'm not. And, it's okay with me, though. I love interviewing people. I love mining their stories for them. I love helping people tell their stories. I've never written because I wanted the fame or the fortune, which is really laughable because everybody knows you don't make a fortune. You just don't. Most people don't. But, that was never what it was about for me, ever. It's not what I want even now. I just love stories. I love people. I love the connections you get to make in this world. Book people are like the best people in the world. People who read and share stories and write. And I love it. It's just a fun group of people. I love it.
I do. I love stories. It's funny because I think for a long time, when it comes to comedy, you have to learn the art of brevity. How to say something in the least amount of words possible and still have the impact that you have with an entire novel. And so I was very intrigued by it. But I think it took probably about 10 years. And I was working at a club this particular week, and it was horrible. It wasn't going well at all. And the headliner was there, and he was kind enough to pull me aside. And he said, because you're a great storyteller. I said, I love stories. I love telling. He goes, yeah, that's funny because you're killing in the green room. and you're sucking out there this week, and I'm just not sure why. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, why don't you tell these stories out there? I was like, oh, because he was a great storyteller, and I loved listening to, like, David Kirkpatrick was on, and he was telling stories. All the ladies fell in love. He kept showing them his crotch and his underwears and his jammies. He has a lot of fans. But I said, well, in my mind, when you are especially telling, I'm sure the same with novels, if you're telling a story, if you're asking people to stay engaged for that long, there's got to be a payoff, right? And that to me is, as a comedian, supposed to be funny. Like that's the goal, right? And that was always very daunting. Like you're talking about, like some things you're just like, that was easy, and other things are just overwhelming. And so, so I just, it took me a while to just really appreciate. I think sometimes I do less stand-up and more storytelling. And it was a choice. Like I feel like there's a certain rhythm to the way that guy comics talk, and they're really good at brevity, because they only have 5 words a day anyway, and we have like 4,000.
Right.
And so I was like, I could write like that, but I'm just gonna sound like them, and it's just not really how I talk. So it was a great, kind of process to do it. But anyway, so tell everybody, because when you and I were together and we were talking and you told the story, so because I don't know all the categories, so yours is helping.
So that's historical fiction or Southern fiction or literary fiction or book club fiction. A lot of book clubs read it. There's discussion questions in the back for book clubs and stuff like that. They get kind of categorized across different genres now. So
my genre would be funny, dirty, inappropriate, with some curse words in it, and your mom shouldn't read it. Okay. So you were telling me, so how does this make its way up to the New York Times? That was a great.
Honestly, I had an amazing publishing team. I had no clue about anything to do with publishing when I came in. I was as green as it gets and probably made every mistake you can make. But I had a really good publishing team who just did all the right things. And this book it kind of went against all the rules. It did things it wasn't supposed to do. Like usually you hit the New York Times list when the book is released. It's a big release and it hits. Mine hit months after, because honestly, it was thanks to independent booksellers in little bookstores all across the South, hand selling those books, telling people word of mouth, book clubs spreading the word. Like, I loved this book, you got to read it. It took a while from the release date for that groundswell to build. And then my publishers were noticing that and knew what to do with that kind of interest, and just it really worked. And I got very lucky at a time when I guess the stars were aligned. I was in my horse stall shoveling stalls when I got the call, and I was like, just nobody in Mississippi. I was shocked. I mean, I never expected that. A debut novelist with no connections, no clue what I'm doing. It was just unheard of. Yeah.
So exciting. Yeah. So exciting. So Jennifer asked, how did you find your publishing team?
So the regular way that most people do it is you have to find a literary agent first. And when you find an agent, the agent will go out with your manuscript and try to sell it to a publishing house. And so they do the contract negotiations and the deals, and you kind of stay out of that. So most traditional publishing houses want you to reach them through an agent. That's the best way to do it. There are exceptions. There are people who just use an attorney, or they already know somebody in, or they meet somebody at a acquisitions editor at an event or something, and they're able to go directly in that way. So there's always exceptions, but the general way is find yourself a good agent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so we were in this publishing class that we took, and there are a lot of people, I feel like, and I don't know if you feel the same because you've mentored lots of people, but I feel like every person has a book in them.
100%. I believe everybody has a story to tell, whether it's a memoir or it's novel, or whatever. I believe we all have stories, and I believe in the power of sharing those stories, because it's important to let other people feel less alone in the world, to understand that they're not the only ones going through these things. We share the human experience and give each other hope and courage and confidence and all the healing and all the good stuff. It comes to us in story every day in different ways. Yes, we all have a story.
I do. It's so funny. And you said, so this class that Julie and I are going to be a part of in the new year is a memoir class. But even when we were on our trip, it was so interesting because people were writing fiction. And I thought that this was so smart. And she knows what I'm talking about. People were writing fiction, and the stories you were just enwrapped by. You were just hanging, because so we would write all day, and then we would read around from like 7 to 9 or 9:30. And we had a small group. There was probably what, 10 of us. And everybody would read an excerpt. But sometimes when some people were done the excerpt, you're like, and then what happened? They're like, I have to, you'll find out tomorrow. And I just can't wait till these books come out. But what I guess my point is that, you know, this class is specifically memoirs. And obviously Julie has written novels and fiction. But you could tell, I felt like when people were writing, I feel, and you can tell me, I feel like sometimes it's hard for a lot of people to tell their story in a memoir format, that it's actually a little easier to write it as a novel, especially painful stories. And there was one in particular that was just I was so enthralled with, but even as she was reading it, my heart was breaking to some degree, because there's so much that comes. I mean, I feel like all art forms, comedy, writing a book, writing your novel, that just the pain that she was able to put on that paper was so on point and so real. And so, you know, maybe you're thinking about getting your thoughts on paper, and I'll have Julie talk about this memoir class, but there's lots of other classes. And, you know, I feel like that trip, and Julie knows this, was the 1-year anniversary of my divorce. And I just feel like I brought a whole bunch of stuff with me, and I was like, I'm just going to let it go in Glastonbury and just wipe the slate. There's something very therapeutic. Can you talk about that, Julie? Like, writing the memoir, like, do you find that that's helpful for people?
100%, Dina. I mean, you tell me, did it help you to write through it?
It did. And you know, like the first I was there for a week, and so it was 7 nights, and I think the first 4 nights I cried every time I read something. And by Wednesday I was like, I can't do it. I was so tired. I was so surprised at the physical toll that it took on me to write every day and have to relive all of these things. And so by like Wednesday night, I was like, guys, I'm sorry, but I have to start writing and reading some fun. I said, I'm really funny. Like, I feel like by Wednesday or Thursday, people are like, this girl is not funny at all. It was so funny. But do you see that a lot? I mean, even with the people that you've worked with.
100%. You know, I don't even know if I'd be in this world if it weren't for writing. I think it's helped me process so many things. I feel like everybody has a creative outlet. Some people have more than one. For me, it's writing. And it's the way I take all the negativity, all the negative energy that comes our way every day in life, the big stuff, the little stuff, and it's like a superpower to then just go in and convert it all back to something positive.
Yeah.
I don't have to hold it in my body and get sick. I don't have to throw the pain back out at someone else and hurt others. I don't have to become hardened. I don't have to shrink and go numb. I can process it, and I can convert it back into something beautiful and positive for the world. And I think we can all do that. That's an amazing superpower that we've been given. It helps us so much. Just process, learn, release. You know, it's a healthy way to get rid of the negativity.
I'm so glad that we're talking about it, because I feel like that's not, I mean, everybody says, oh, you should journal this, you know, but how many of us have the forethought when you're that deep in something to, you know, be able to sit down and write it. I was, and Julie knows, when I got to the trip, I didn't have anything to read the first night. Because I hadn't written, I was traveling. And so I ended up reading what I wrote the day I got divorced. And it was the only day that I wrote that when it was happening, because I was like, it's never going to feel this bad. And I want to remember this, because I want to be able to know that when I go back and read this, I'm in a better place. And for some reason, that moment, I was, and I'm not great at writing. I'm not great at having that discipline and sitting down. So the fact that it was enough to make me just sit down and write. I think, it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing that you're doing. So tell everybody a little bit just about the memoir class in general.
Yeah, so we just finished Year of the Novel. I taught that this year with Sadiqa Johnson, and we had a great time and stayed with us the whole year, and we just saw some amazing growth and amazing books come out of that stories. So this year I'll be teaching with Deborah Engel, who's amazing, and she and I will be co-teaching the class, and we'll be bringing in guests from the industry today, so other memoir writers that are doing their, top-tier memoirs. Maybe some agents and publishing professionals as well throughout the year. We're going to be meeting from February through October, so not quite the 12 months, but a good long stretch. And we're calling it Story of a Lifetime. And we meet every other Thursday evening through Zoom in a large group. And then alternative weeks, you'll meet with a small group of about 5 peers, like you kind of just described, to kind of go around, read your stuff, share, get oral feedback and support, encouragement, accountability from your peer group. Yeah, which helps, don't you think?
I was going to say, here's the thing is I am not great at like making promises to myself. Because I'm like, I'm going to work out tomorrow morning. And then I sleep. But I will feel pangs of guilt if I say, Julie, I'm going to be there tomorrow at 4. If I'm not there, I'm like, do you know what I did to Julie today? Like, I'll be more upset about that. So I feel like that accountability. And that's part of the reason that I did do the trip to England, to just jumpstart something. Like, and I came back and I felt like so in the zone when I was there, but then you took all of you guys away and I was like, I have so many other things to do and the dishes are dirty. And then, everything just kind of gets in your way. So I think that for me, that was the part that I really liked about the class. I was talking to Laurie Needs a Nap. She's Laurie, Laurie Walker. And and she was saying that was the part that she loved the most, was the small groups, the ability to just be able to be accountable and to, I have to write something by 5 o'clock. So I would be at my room just like, I better write something on this piece of paper.
It's true. I think, knowing that other people are counting on you to show up, it just helps. Plus, I don't think there's anything more important than building that community of peers and other writers who are helping you to make those decisions along the way about what you're going to do with your book and all of those kind of things. Whether you bring it to the market or not, they'll be there to cheer you through all of those steps and decisions and rally you back when you get some rejections, because that's inevitable too. And it's good to have people around you when you're doing all of that. It's going to be fun.
I was going to say, Julie is downplaying a lot of the accolades of all of the mentors and all the guests that are parts of these programs. So Bonnie wrote Lessons in Chemistry, which is now a huge hit on Netflix and has been on the New York Times bestseller list for over a year. I think just crazy. And so this class, if you're the kind of person that's always thought about, hey, I would love to get my thoughts on paper. I would love to kind of go through and it was funny because I was talking to David about it and he was like, Dina, the thing I love about this class is whether you decide to publish it or not, like there's just something about investing in yourself and just being able to have a group. Like our group is lovely. And you said it earlier, and you could tell just from the beginning parts of the comments, it's just super supportive. But I think there's something I think there's a certain inspiration that I crave as an artist, to be able to be around other people who are constant. Like, I feel like when I talk to my mom, she's like, what are we making on Voila this Sunday? Like I feel like every conversation is very utilitarian. And so to be in a group and be talking to other people who are like, I have locked my kids out of this room. I told my husband, don't talk to me. I am here and I just want to talk about the things in my head. Like there's just something super important about that, that I just love about the program. So it's been great. So you posted a picture. Happy birthday to Julie, because she just had a big birthday, and I saw the picture you posted of all those ladies. Is it a writing group that you're in that they gave you balloons and stuff, that picture?
Oh, last week, my book club. I have a book club here in Houston where I live, and we meet once a month, and of all days for me to show up late at the book club because Waze sent me to the wrong place. Thank you, Waze. I show up late, and they had a surprise birthday party for me, which I had no idea what that they were doing. And listen, if y'all ever want to make somebody feel loved, it's still their idea. I turned 50, so they wrote 50 reasons they love me, but it turned into 78, and they made 3 big posters, and they read every one of them to me out loud. I was just a wreck. My brain couldn't even, just short-circuited. I mean, I told myself, is it going to be really terrible of me to hang them on my wall and read it? I feel so loved. And I just thought, wow, if you want to make somebody feel special in your friend groups and stuff, do that for them, because I was speechless and blown away and just a bucket of tears and all of it. It was great. Incredibly kind and thoughtful.
It was great. And I'm telling you, you should be following Julie. She tackles lots of different subjects. Go to juliecantrell.com. But I just even, you know what I love about following you on Facebook is that your posts, are just so beautifully written. Like, imagine, guys, if I was actually a New York Times bestselling author posting. I'm not, clearly. I think we can tell by my posts. But Julie will write. I mean, that's what made me stop. Like, the picture, I was like, oh, that's a nice picture. But then I saw you had written something. I was like, I'm in. I'm reading whatever Julie wrote, because I know this. And it was so beautiful, just the way you wrote it. But yeah, it is. It's been a pleasure. And it's so funny because it's just funny to meet you at this time in my life. We have so many things in common. And so there were a couple times where we just locked ourselves in a room and just were like, girl, I hear that.
I can top that one.
Oh, you think that's bad? Yep. And there was
it always reminds me, like, we get to this age and all of us are divorced or whatever, you know, like we all have these wounds. It reminds me of when I was a kid, you know, when we were kids and like showing scars, like, oh, you want to see this scar? You want to see this?
Yeah,
What's happening here? Like, yeah, now we're showing our wounds, but they're bigger, you know?
But they're all emotional and they tear your soul and leave you with PTSD. What? That was a big deal.
Yeah. all a mess. But look what we can survive and come back from, you know? You just never know how tough you are, so you have to do it. So
now somebody said, are you anywhere near Sugarland, Julie?
Yeah, I'm not too far. I'm in Houston, so that's not too far away from Sugarland. Yeah.
Is Sugarland a place?
It is a nice town. Is somebody here from Sugarland?
Sugarland. I don't know. Linda seems to know it. Listen, we have spies everywhere, Julie. They're gonna find everywhere. They'll be like, I'm in Houston. I could take Julie to lunch for her birthday. Like that's how creepy.
I love it. I love that.
I was gonna say beautiful, and then I realized somewhat creepy. So. She says, one funny mother, beautiful and then cross it out and then just write creepy. It depends on who you are. Mm-hmm.
You didn't show me the sweatshirt. What did it say?
Yeah. You got. All right, now listen. This is gonna make no sense to you whatsoever. I don't even know if we still have it in stock, but I'm gonna get you one of these. All right, here we go. Because it's so dumb, Julie.
I'm gonna get you one of these.
Oh, thank you. I was gonna say you have to wear this to the trip next year because I think you're gonna love it. It's gonna. David's gonna be like, "Tell me where." Are you ready?
Yeah.
I wonder if I should tell you the story first. I'm not going to tell you the story. Here's what it says.
I love it. I love it. Oh, you're so good for my soul.
I was doing the morning show, and I used to do it on my phone, right? And so on your phone, you know how there's like lots of like notifications that pop up, right? So I have a Ring doorbell, and everybody that has a Ring doorbell must know by now that you are automatically opted into notifications. So you will find out somebody's dog came and pooped in my yard 3 blocks from here. You just get these dumb notifications. Whatever, fine. So we're doing the morning show, and this notification pops up now. So I'm reading comments. I'm like, there's like a lot of stuff on my screen that and then this thing pops up. I read it super fast, Julie, and this is why I can't read big books. What I read said hussies on the loose. And I was like, do we report that? Because I know a lot of hussies, and I had no idea that we should put that on the Ring doorbell. Well, it turns I was like, it couldn't. So I look it up, and it says huskies on the loose. Which made a lot more sense, but I just had a whole diatribe about hussies on the loose. How'd you So I was like, I would just this, and you wear it to church or the store, and you just wait for people to ask you, what is this about?
I love it. Your whole new tagline. Do we all wear those to the Dina event?
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, everything on Ring is about dogs. We should have known, huh?
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
Lisa Finn said, I so love the table read with Story Summit. Thank you. What does that mean?
So table reads, I don't know if they're every week now, but a lot of Sunday nights they'll do an open table read and anybody can come read. You let them know ahead of time if you want to read or whatever. And so like just this past week, Sunday night, 2 nights ago, they had a holiday one. It was wonderful, big turnout, very inspiring, happy, meaningful
And that's
segment.
a free event, right?
It's what?
That's a free event.
That's a free event. They do have quite a few free events. If you go to the Story Summit website, you'll see that they're and sign up for their newsletter because there's always things going on. So there'll be upcoming retreats, but there's free events like the table reads. They have some men's groups even for men that are great. So there's something for everybody. And also you were saying like somebody might want to write their story, but do it as a novel. Not only to protect the people they love and, all of that kind of thing. There's reasons to do that.
Right.
So we do have a few people already in the memoir class who plan to do that. And it's fine if that's what they want to do and they want to come write a novel with us in the memoir class, but it's mined from their own experiences. There are a lot of catch-22s with that and we'll work through all of that, but we're welcoming those people as well.
That's
so just because it's the same idea, same premise. It's creative nonfiction, and to build this story is the same craft skills and all of that.
Yeah. And it's so funny because there were so many words. So I'm a room full of writers, right? And I'm trying to keep up, but I'm drinking bourbon, reading, crying. That's basically who I was in the show. But they would be talking and then they'd start using words and act like these words were normal. And I'm like this. I'm like, trying to figure out what they're talking about just based on context and just going back and forth. I'm like, all right, I have no idea what you're saying. So one of the words that you said, I'm not going to know the word because I don't remember what it was, but it was when you choose to write, because, all right, let me start. I've been drinking. Let me start again. When you write a book, and you can tell me if I heard this right, you can be in more than one person, but you can't change the person within a chapter. So like I could be in first person in the first chapter, but be in second person or third person in the second. Julie says no. I might have heard it wrong. All I know is that somebody was reading something and then somebody said your person flopping or some word.
Head hopping.
What is it?
Head hopping.
Head hopping. What did I say?
But I like person flopping. I think we need that on a sweatshirt too. I like that. Yeah, there's little things like that you learn from craft classes that you would never think about. When you're writing, you don't think about those kind of things. As a reader, you might not notice it when you're reading a book, but you might know you're having trouble reading a book and you don't know why, or things feel confusing and you don't know why, and it could be some of those reasons. So even if readers aren't aware that that's what's happening, sometimes it's those kind of things. Just like in comedy, you write in threes, right? Like there's certain craft skills that are elemental.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was what was so funny is that when you said it, like I wouldn't have thought about it, but as soon as you said it, it made perfect sense. You're like, oh yeah. And then you said, and this took me a minute. Julie said, this is the drunk Dina now. You said a person can't say something that they didn't see.
Well, you kind of, yeah.
It was part of head popping.
So if we're in a certain point of view in a story, a certain perspective. So let's say in Into the Free, I wrote that in first person point of view from the point of view of the main character, Millie. Okay. And so if Millie doesn't know something or can't see it or observe it happening or hear somebody saying it to her, then we can't know it either. Like if it's happening in another room where she's not there, then we don't, if we're writing from her point of view and that first person point of view, we don't know anything she doesn't know. So we only get to experience the world.
That blew my mind. And I thought about every story I've ever heard, like even Star Wars. I was like, did Luke Skywalker know what Darth Vader said to Princess Leia when she wasn't in? And I was like, no, he didn't. Like, it was mind blowing to me. You like you said,
writers get to cheat a little bit because they can show scenes that are happening in other places without, so they get it a little. Yeah, we have to follow a few more rules. Yeah.
And it's funny because I mean, you explain it, it makes perfect sense. But you know, when you read as a reader, I'm not really paying attention. But you're right. Like, I don't think I pay attention to structure, but I know when it's missing. I can't tell you what part, but I'm like, something's wrong with this book. This don't make any sense. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it is.
You kind of know the natural rhythm of story and the natural way stories are told. And so you do notice when there are bumps. You may not know why, but you know they're there. Yeah.
You know what was interesting though is one of the tips you had given me, something I had written. You had another word for it, but I was repeating myself, like things that in terms of comedy they happen in threes, right? So I can hit a point 3 different times with slightly different perspectives. But you told me, you were like, you're repeating yourself too many times here. Like, I got the point, and now you need to not say it again. Is there a word for that?
Well, we're a lot more forgiving to listen to someone tell a story than we are as a reader. So if we're seeing the same word repeated, we call those echoes. Now, if it's intentionally done because we want to emphasize an idea, it's okay. But if it's just kind of there because we aren't paying attention to how many times we've repeated things, it becomes redundant, and the readers need to move a little faster than that. Or they lose focus and we lose them. So they'll stick with you in a comedy act or something else because it's engaging. You know, you're there and you'll move on to the next.
Especially if they're drunk. Like, we get a lot more drunk patrons than the average.
You have to repeat it.
You're like, I'm trying to make sure you heard me because I don't know what the stats are for how you'd monitor how many drunk people have read this book. I know. That's so
no.
That's so funny. But all of those things that I think that just kind of really get you to start paying attention to things that, you know, like, this isn't my genre. Like, if you wanted to know something about comedy, I could talk for 20 years on that. But this is all new. And again, like, I feel like how, you know, you created your masterpieces, your Into the Free, that, you know, when you're creating it, it's good for your head to be there completely, but at some point you need to learn these words, you know, you need to learn, how does this business, it's a business, and how does it work, and how do you meet people? I thought it was really great too, is how many people were there and attended, and that were just at different levels of success and accomplishment and process. So some had publishers already, some just had agents. And I just thought that being around people at different places was also so valuable, because when you're starting out, you're like you're like, tell me as much as you can tell me. So being able to be in these classes and have access to people like you and the other great speakers that'll be joining you, I think is pretty great. So, all right, well, listen, it is almost 10 o'clock. Do yourself a favor, check out storysummit.com, whether it's the memoir class, and Julie and Deb will be leading that. Is that the Debbie that runs, she's like, serves as a moderator for a lot of things?
Yeah, she's one of the directors for Story Summit. She's a wonderful person, wonderful writer, wonderful teacher. You know, she'll just be a joy to be in class with. I think it'll be a really positive, great experience. So y'all come join us, come learn about it. We'll answer any questions for you, anything that you want to know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I hope you feel inspired tonight. It's like I said, I can't believe it. There's only one more Tuesday left. We'll be doing our awards next week. But if you're in a place now where you're already thinking about the new year, Julie, do you have any New Year's resolutions? I mean, if you're already...
I'm just wondering how I can nominate Rob for Hottie Husband of the Year. New Year's resolutions, yes. Finish my novel.
Yeah, whatever. That's not important, Julie. Let's get back to Rob. So you can nominate Rob for Hot Dad of the Month So
Okay.
he gets his face in the newsletter. And so we took, I think we started in April, so we only had about 8 hot dads this year. So we took all 8, and then our community got to vote and decide who was the hot dad of the year. So it's a graduated thing, Julie. You can't just jump right to hot dad of the year. He's got to earn it. But you can submit it at onefunnymother.com/community.
I'm gonna do that.
Because I think the ladies would love him. And so do yourself a favor, check out Story Summit, like I said, whether it's for memoirs or whether it's a novel based on your life, or I love, because Rob was talking about the men's class as well, and he loved it. He was like, I'm part of this group, which is, lots of different people, but this one's kind of different. It's just the guys. I thought that was really good. So to finish my novel, Katie said she has a New Year's resolution, and I have a devotional book coming out soon that I need to wrap up. Katie, that's so great, and so the opposite of what I'm writing. I don't think there's anything devotional about it other than, please, Lord, don't let me go to hell for reading Dina's book. Like that. Is that devotional, Katie? I don't know. So do yourself a favor if you haven't done so. You can vote for our intro of the year. And that probably is just below these posts, and you'll see all 6 entries. We narrowed it down to the top 6, and we'll be giving, telling all of our finalists on Friday morning. So it's basically like when they announce the Oscars, Julie. I don't know if you're getting that vibe, but that's what it's going to be when I announce the finalists. And then next Tuesday, we'll be here in full formal wear for our awards at the end of the year. And it's big, Julie. I'm telling you, Rob would love, he could win. He could be this guy next year, Julie.
I would never hear the end of it.
Oh, and the trophy. He has to.
He would have that front and center in our dining room on the
yeah. He'd be like, Julie, do you want to kiss this before bedtime?
Yeah. He would love that.
And the store will be opening in 1 minute. So we started with supporter sales first, but it'll be open, and anybody will be able to shop. If there's something that you've wanted, get it now, because who knows when it's coming back. And we're looking forward to launching some new merch starting in February, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, and formal wear for One Funny Mother is the Hussies sweatshirt. So get it now for our formal ceremonies. Julie, I have to get one for you.
I'm going to go get one. So I'm going to buy it. Don't worry. I'm going to get it.
I know David's here.
I love the 70s font. The whole thing is perfect.
I can't wait. Jane, so just go to the post below us and you'll be able to vote down there. So let's hear for Julie, everybody. Julie, thank you so much. This was so fun, and that's such an ugly sweater, and it was perfect for tonight.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all are fun. If anybody's in Houston, let me know.
Yeah, Julie would love to go to lunch. But you can find her at juliecantrell.com. And you can also go, I think it's storysummit.us. I put the links in the post. And check out the memoir class. Look around a little bit. At least do yourself a favor. Sign up for the newsletter, so every month you can feel bad about yourself that you haven't done anything, but they would have a great idea of something that you're going to love. So it's great. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll be here tomorrow morning with some other ridiculousness that we'll be talking about. But thanks for watching, as always, and have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday for the awards. See ya. Bye.
Happy holidays. Bye.
Oh, that was fun.